Test.
Vocal exercises.
Oh. Good. We're back to the warehouse for Floorball 2. We have a lot of catching up to do. Let's talk Floorball. Welcome to the Blitzball Boys, a podcast about floor sports in the ball house, but lately about floorball. I'm your co-host, Brendan Ruppel, along with my fellow host, Peter Del Rey.
Hey, Brendan.
Hey!
First episode ever of the Blitzball Boys.
First episode ever.
Where it is a full, handsome episode because we were off for a while. I'm sure you noticed.
Oh.
Now Brendan's married.
Yes.
Congratulations to him. He's been on his honeymoon, so we've been taking a break, as we said in the end of the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back to, we were talking about this before, this will probably be the most chaotic record that we've had, just because Brendan and I are not hockey guys. We really loved the last floorball. We loved the last floorball tournament, but it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna learn on the fly. Let's be honest. We're gonna learn on the fly.
Ball and play too, where we are like learning cricket stuff. And I think a couple people said like, "Oh, you guys seem to like really figure it out towards the end." So hopefully by the last episode we'll have it figured out. For
you guys were pretty good, and then when it was over, I was glad. So exactly. Stats keeping has been interesting. My stats are wrong for sure. Mm-hmm. I was telling Brendan. So I'm not going to put my stats out like I do that I did for Blitzball Battle 3. My stats are wrong. They're right enough, and they're right to what I was seeing, that I'm confident in. Like, they're still pretty indicative of performance.
Yeah.
But man, this tournament has been crazy so far. Everybody who's watching everybody who's listening to this, if you haven't started watching Floorball yet, watch Floorball. This shit is fucking nuts. I love it.
It's so good. I mean, so we had seen Floorball 1, and that was before we started doing this show. So I think the two of us were very, very excited to cover this. Knew it would be a challenge, but we're still pumped up to see where this took us. Floorball's so good that it got, famously, if you are a listener of our show, we have a friend, Chris, that doesn't watch any of this stuff, but still somehow is a part of our show. We got him to start watching warehouse games because of how fun Floorball is. It's just such a great, chaotic game. I love Floorball also because it brings so many more personalities into the mix. They get so many new players. They keep a lot of, like, Baggage still has every single player from last year on it, but a lot of the other players have, like, returning and new faces, so it's fun to get a lot more personalities and a lot more hockey personalities into the mix.
You know what I got excited about for Floorball while I was watching? And this is getting ahead of myself for sure. Mm-hmm. Our draft is back in our award episode.
I saw that when I was like, oh yeah, there's 4 on each team, then 6 teams. Draft is back on, baby.
The draft is back, baby. So tune into our award show at the end of the season. It's going to be somewhere in the beginning of November. Because traditionally, as we spoke about during Blitzball Blitz, we record our awards episode when the John Boy Awards episode goes out, and that's going to be like November 12th.
Yeah, unless you're Blitzball Blitz, and we are the only award show available.
We are the only award show. We are the official award show.
Either way, we're the official award show.
We're the official award show either way, actually. Yeah. But before we get
to awards for this season,
before we start to give out our awards for this season, I already know who I'm. No, okay, Brendan,
okay, all right.
You've prepared some burns, and I'm excited to hear how they go.
Here we go.
4 burns.
Team Baggage is looking to start their next run to the championship, but needs to get past these little stinkers first. Scoreless into the second period, Jimmy throws it up against the boards, hoping for a rebound shot, and Sam is up to the task and puts it in the net. Down by 1, Hookline is firing shots all over the place, hoping for anyone to clean up the mess, when finally the chocolate milkman delivers. Drew Davis ties it up, and we go to a shootout. Scoreless shootout for Baggage to take the last. Oh, wait! That one dribbles in! Just how Hookline drew it up, and Baggage can't match the goal. Hookline Sinkers win 2-1.
I like drew it up.
You like drew it up?
I like drew it up.
Is definitely like a Chris Rose one. Just want to give him some love for the up to Tasky.
That was good too. This game was I didn't know what to think going into it because I meant to go back and rewatch Floorball 1, but, work got hectic and so did life with everything. But I forgot. Like, I feel like the first game of Floorball 1 was still people trying to figure it out. I don't think it was as good as this. Like, Baggage looked so organized. They looked like they were ready to take on the world.
Yeah.
Hookline looked very, very athletic, very good. That like it was only a matter of time for Hookline to like get it going.
Yeah.
And we'll see what in a couple days when they play their second game if they do in fact get it going. But Baggage, man.
It's
They
like
deserve
story of
that
Baggage.
win.
Yeah, no, it was like the championship last year. They didn't, not that they deserved the win of the championship, but they played so well. And I think they really that translated into this tournament already. They apparently been practicing a bunch. They all look so serious. Sam looks like the most intense floorball player that we will ever see. She is so for both these games that they played. She was like, I don't know, a fire in her eyes. Like, you think Jimmy's intense? She looks like she wants it even more than Jimmy. But what a team! That's so like you said, so well organized. Hookline is just all over the place in sort of a good way. That's where we're at so far.
And like they're all over the place, but that kind of lends itself well here because they're getting in front of shots. They're playing good defense.
I mean, it's a cardio sport. It's a small space where you're just running back and forth as fast as you can. If you have someone like Drew that can just like once in a while be in the right place at the right time and flail his stick around, it'll kind of go in.
And Courtney was really good too.
Courtney had a bunch of shots on net, a couple that just missed too.
Yep, exactly. But before we get too far into it,
yes.
Let's take a move on to game 2. We got Ice versus Mac. Flurry Power.
It's Ice versus Ice Cream as the Blitzball Blitz champions take on the Canadians. Team Canada looks strong early when Slick Nick steals the ball and scores one to take a 1-0 lead. The second period starts off with a Pavel play goal that starts a Mac flurry of goals, getting us to a 3-2 score in the third. We Got Ice starts the last period looking aggressive, putting Mac Flurry in the defensive, but neither Zoe or Reagan can get their balls past the Beast to complete the tie. Mac Flurry Power hangs on 3-2.
Yeah, so big thing here was the first goal from the Pavel play.
Very exciting. Love. I mean, we'll get to it later, but Pavel play is such a fun idea.
Pavel play is such a fun idea. I mean, like we saw, and without getting too much into it, you saw in the first game, Hookline and Baggage like really fleshing out a play with Pavel and being like, "This is what we want to do."
Mm-hmm.
With Mac Flurry, they were kind of just like, "Let's just fucking do it," and it worked out for them.
Right. We have a physical extra person who is the best on the floor. Let's just go on the offensive and just keep throwing balls at the net, and you can run around like a fucking maniac and just try and clean up our mess. And then that's what he does. He comes so close so many more times later on in the tournament from what we've seen so far. Like he posted a couple more balls later on, but he is just like the best version of Drew. It's as if Drew had good ball handling skills and could just run around in circles and then keep scoring. That's
so rude.
I mean, but he's like a professional player.
Yeah, that is true. I notice this every time. Whenever Pavel comes on, and this is more about like the tournament as a whole and not necessarily the specific game. Whenever Pavel comes on, he's involved in every single like second that the ball is in play. It's crazy. We'll talk about it later. There's like a game where he comes on back-to-back plays, and he's just like full-on sprinting this whole time.
He's not only just sprinting around like nonsensically. He's got eyes for the ball, wherever it is. He knows where it's going to bounce and where to be at the right time, and still able to turn around and shoot.
It's
really good,
cool,
and he loves it. He's having so much fun. Chris Rose loves him so much.
Chris Rose loves this, and I love like just him being like, "This is fucking crazy, guys." But talking about these teams, both of these teams looked really good. Like We Got Ice. The number one thing that stood out to me is that Mac Flurry Power looked like they had been playing together for years and years and years, and We Got Ice looked like, maybe Zoe had a little bit of rust or was really anxious to score because he had such an amazing tournament last tournament.
Yeah.
Because Zoe is really good at floorball.
Yeah, you forget until he just starts scoring goals. Like, oh yeah, you're not too bad at this.
Oh
stuff.
yeah, Zoe's kind of nuts at this, huh? But they both look really good. We got ice just, I think, in the next game, which is going to be against Lovius because we're only covering the first 4. That's game 5. The next game, I think, is going to be the welcoming party for We Got Ice to be like,
yeah,
we're here.
because you have people like Zoe that have been there and are pretty good, but now they have like supplemental characters that are legit hockey players to bolster their roster. So that's very helpful.
Reagan is nuts.
Really
I think
good.
Reagan might be the best player in this entire tournament, not named Pavel.
Wow. I mean, like you said it in your notes. I mean, we'll get to it later, but she very well could turn this around and get like dominant soon.
Yeah, Reagan, like Chelsea too. I don't want to take anything away from Chelsea.
Her ball
Chelsea
handling
was
is so cool.
Chelsea was it her goal in this game that she just
through the
like
legs.
made whoever was guarding her look stupid? It
through
was
the legs and
so
then 5-hole.
crazy. It's like she put glue on her stick. It was her ball handling and like just shooting is
Yeah, I think
really
Pavel mentioned
good.
it during the game. Was like, yeah, she's like known for her cool ball tricks that she can do.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah,
Reagan and Chelsea stole this game for me. They played so amazingly.
let's get into the next one before we go too deep.
Yeah, but
Too
again,
deep.
just last thing, Reagan might be the best player in the tournament by the end of this whole thing.
You heard him
she
say
might
it.
be. She's incredible.
Okay.
Game 3, Woogas versus Lovias.
The Wiggers would love a win to start this tournament as they start a game off looking like they'll do just that. Cool hand Luke sneaks an early goal past Dalton. Seconds later, Corin wants to take the ball to go back to its home alone as McCallumster sends his half-court shot into the net. That was a
what was that, Brendan?
McCallumster. This is a stretch. We go to the third period, still 2-0, and McCallum ensures a core win in his second goal of the day. Lovius can't make up the difference and drop this one 3-1.
Lots of lows and highs in that burn, Brendan.
McCallumster.
What is that supposed to be?
He was sending
in
the ball to
reference
go
to?
home alone, and it was a Kevin McCallister joke. Yeah, it was a lot.
That was a tough one.
It was a lot in my mouth.
That was a tough one. There was something else I was going to say about that burn, but you completely got me with McCallumster. Woogas look crazy good. So I have this whole thing about Woogas, and it's like a little bit disrespectful on my part. Lovias looks like the worst team in the tournament by a lot.
Yeah.
And it's nothing on them. It's not saying like Sarah and Jesse and Nikki and Dalton all stink, because that's not the case. I have it written in my notes. I'm sure you saw it. They have a serious issue with organization. Mm-hmm. There were so many times in this game where I was thinking to myself, they're like standing on top of each other. There's no like Jesse has the ball and Nikki and Sarah are like standing right next to one another. There's no space for Jesse to like pass it off, so he's going to get the ball knocked off of him. I also feel like Jesse should not be playing defense because when he switched at the end of the third, without going too much into it, Lovias looked like a completely different team. They looked way better with Jesse going forward. And you saw that with his little poke check goal that he scored.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then on the other side, Woogas seems fantastic. Woogas looks like, in my opinion, we talked about this during Ball and Play, where we were like, after the first round, we were like, pinstripe, hook line, 2 best teams.
Yeah.
It almost felt the same way here with Woogas and McFlurry Power, 2 best teams, because they just were so dominant against their opponent. And then, spoiler alert, the next game happens and you see that, oh no, the Woogas have some very big holes in their like game. In a sense that, yeah, they're really good going forward. Really, really good going forward.
Yeah.
But they take a small hit defensively because of that. Or they like, I don't know what the right word is, but they kind of like space out a little bit on defense, and that allows for goals to happen. Like you saw it in here with Lovia's goal, and then you see it again in the next game. But like, they have these little cracks in their armor where yes, they may be the best team offensively, and they are absolutely crazy going forward. Like Luke is nuts. Corwin can score from wherever he wants.
Yeah.
And I have it more in the next game's notes, but if Lauren starts timing her shots a little better from when Luke or Corwin like just pass it to her, she's in the perfect position so many times. If she could get a stick on it, she's gonna score
Yeah, I'm
so
sure they'll
many
start
goals.
to fall. Yeah, I think you're right about Lovey. I think it's something to do with how Nicky is not a hockey player and he's been taking a lot of the charge. I think since he's such an athletic guy and he's such a stand back and he doesn't know necessarily where to position himself because he's not familiar with the sport. So let the hockey players take the lead, and he should maybe just stand back and just cover everything and be Dalton's guy right in front of him. And the two of them should be defensive. And maybe that'll help open things up a little bit more, just keeping the quick guy in the back and having him just clear balls up to the people and maybe get some more rebounds up there. Wooga's, like you said, very, very organized offensively, and maybe just focus a little bit too much on that. But you can get away with that when you're playing teams that are much less skilled than you, hockey-wise.
One big thing for Nicky and me that I was like thinking about was Nicky got to a point, and I forget if it was the second period or the third period, where Nicky gets to this point where he's clearly frustrated that he is not better. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It's not like, what a douchebag. How dare he be angry during this fun time game?
Yeah.
It's nothing like that. It's very much Nicky's a competitor. Nicky is used to being one of the better players on the field, and he's just struggling with hockey because guess what, guys? Hockey's a fucking hard sport.
You think you could just pick up a stick and be good. You can't. It's just not the way it works.
You cannot.
It's years and years of having a feel for something like that. It's like catching a baseball. Like it takes a long time to be good at even just catching a simple ball if it's thrown fast at you, or like catching a ground ball. It's tough to do. You get a feel for it over the course of your life. So if you just decide to pick up a hockey stick and think you're going to have a good touch on a shot or catching a pass, it's just not going to be the way it goes.
And you see in this game, and this is the last thing, then we'll move on, but like you see in this game where before this point where Nicky gets frustrated, you're seeing their strategy is Nicky and Jesse. Nicky's going to be like running around. Jesse's going to stay up near midfield or whatever they call it in this sport. And Sarah's going to stay in front of the goal and try and like score.
Yeah.
And then Nicky gets frustrated and you see it's Jesse at midfield and Nicky and Sarah just standing in front of the goal because Nicky is just like, get me the ball and I need to get this shot in.
Yeah, you need these like predefined roles pre-game, and of course you need to be flexible with whatever your game plan is and see where the game goes. But it seems like they had like the least plan going into the game.
They definitely have the least organization.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that changes because I really like this team. Their jerseys are awesome.
Yeah. They continue to just stun me with their jerseys. I need to get some fashion of a Lovey jersey at some point. Jersey watch. Who do you like the best? Real quick.
Who do I like the best?
Yeah.
I mean,
is it the Woogas?
I think I like McFlurry Power the best.
They're always great. I mean that is
it's
an
the same jersey
design.
That's the only
it looks
issue.
really cool as a hockey jersey though.
It does. The only issue for me is that it's the same exact jersey from Blitzball Battle 3. But it's fine. I think I like them the best. Purple's historically my favorite color.
It's one of the best crop of jerseys we've seen in a tournament, I think.
It's crazy. I love Hookline, and Hookline's my team. Well documented.
Yeah.
Hookline's my team, but I hate over-the-top logos.
Okay.
And like that's all there is like a graphic tee logo. Like their Blitzball Blitz jersey was my favorite one by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And if they just had something like that for the floorball, they would be my favorite.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it's too much going on.
Yeah. I love the colors of Woogas.
Still might buy one.
I don't know. I'm between half of the jerseys, so I can't buy 3 hockey jerseys. That'd be insane. We'll see. I'll get one of them.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get to this fourth game, baby. Four.
It's a battle of the brothers with the family watching as baby James has to decide who his real father is. Luke continues to dominate with an early goal,
God.
but their mood is soon soured by Kraus, who matches their tally. Luke decides he is no longer Jimmy's brother, but in fact he's his father after scoring a hat trick in front of their family. But Baggage is not dead yet. Tasky gets them within one, and Jimmy, with ice in his veins, scores a backhand goal with time running out to tie the game and go into a shootout. The shootout goes all the way through 2 rounds until Corwin tricks Jake by doing the old forget how to play hockey trick and then slapping it in the net. Woogas wins a tight one in overtime 4-3.
Oh my goodness. Hey, you want to hear some controversy? I'm going to start some controversy, Brendan.
Do it.
I don't know how Corwin's game-winning goal in the shootout was legal.
Okay.
Because you're supposed to keep forward momentum, and like I don't know if
like
it's
a little
like your
starter step
body
at the
has to
end?
keep going forward. I feel like he fully stopped and the ball rolled backwards before he scored.
Well, so the
I
ball,
could
the
be
ball
way
can do whatever
wrong.
it wants, but you're right. He has to keep moving forward. Maybe it was like
Okay.
just ever so slightly. His body was still. He didn't step back or he didn't step laterally.
Right.
So I guess he was very technically all right. Because they seem like they're
So-
pretty keen on that. They're noticing that stuff. Like Zoe had that goal that was taken back because he moved
Yeah.
backwards and to the left or to the right a little bit. So I think for a game winner, they definitely would have called out on that, or at least Jimmy or somebody would have been like, "Hey, what's that?"
Yeah, because it was just like, I mean, maybe it's just the fact that I don't really know hockey that well, or
Yeah.
floorball.
Yeah,
for
ball
that matter.
can move back and forth as long as you're going.
And I was watching it, and you even saw it in the game. Like, there wasn't a lot of like, oh, you know,
Except for
when
the Jimmy goal.
when
Jimmy
they
goal
won.
is huge.
It was kind of
Oh,
just
sorry,
well,
when they
no,
won.
for the game winning,
Yeah,
because it was
yeah.
kind of just like,
Like,
is that allowed? Yeah,
Because it's
And there was-
hard because
oh,
you
okay.
don't see it until the replay exactly what happened. We're like, did he touch it twice, or did he shoot it and try
Right.
to hit a rebound? You couldn't tell until you see the slow mo, and then you're like, oh, he just straight up like this good handler just mishandled quickly, and that was enough to trick
Yep.
Jake. Bad
mean-
bad positioning by Jake. I think on that one, when it's
bad positioning
when
with
it's
Jake. That was my next point.
Yeah,
Jake is
where
in
that
bad
ball
positioning
is-
all the time.
get your whole body right and like block that angle. He didn't block the angle at all.
I think,
I don't know
like-
what was going on there.
Did you watch the video that they put out when it was Pavel and Kane versus Jimmy, Jake, and Jack in like penalty shots?
No.
It was like Pavel got 10 shots against Jake, 10 shots against Jack. And then however many he scored, Jimmy had 20 shots to get half that amount against
Okay.
Kane.
Gotcha.
And Pavel said, like, during that video, he was like, yeah, Jack is kind of a better goalie than Jake because Jake tries to do too much in goal. And, like, I have it written in my notes. I don't know if you saw that. Jake's goaltending strategy, and I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to move around a lot to make the opponent feel like, oh, if I shoot over there, he's going to cover it because Jake moves a lot. It looks like an open space, but it's not. But I feel like when he does that, he just opens up these huge
You're right.
holes.
He'll dive and then leave
and-
it wide open. And if sometimes he'll
Yeah.
dive when they're trying to make him dive, and then leave,
Yeah.
leave an entire net open. And with that last goal too, the Corwin goal, it was almost like he was waiting for Corwin to make another move and got like
The
lulled,
Corwin goal in the
the
of course,
shootout,
in the
and he
shootout.
he got lulled to sleep and was like, wait, is he gonna shoot? And he's like, no, not yet. And then he did, and he's like, oh shit! And then like react when you can't react when someone's that close to you.
Right.
He's playing off
Right.
reactions. You need to just get your body in the best position.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it worked. It obviously worked last tournament, Jake's goaltending, because Jake was a good goaltender last tournament. But in this one, it feels like, especially the Woogas figured him out. You know,
Yeah.
specifically Corwin.
Yeah, you just want to make him lean one way, and then you can go the other way.
But that being said, just like we said earlier, Baggage versus Woogas, it felt like Baggage and Woogas were like true equals
Yeah.
during like the actual playing part of the game. Woogas didn't feel like they were blowing them out like they did against Lovias. And this
No,
goes
you
back
never
to
thought
me.
they were out of the game because even when they were outscored 3-1 at one point, Baggage was
Right.
like, well, they still control the ball really well. They don't look like they're scrambling. They have a plan.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool that each one of their on the floor players scored a goal too. Evenly distributed goals.
Kraus really played well in
Yeah,
this game.
yeah.
Really, really. I really want to call him out specifically. Kraus played really, really well
Yeah,
in this game.
he makes me want to see more. I think Corwin had a couple maybe in the other game they played too. I want to see more shots from like half field plus because I think those seem to do pretty well.
That's what I was going to bring up next. And I don't like as usual. I don't want to go too far into it before we actually do our recaps. But Corwin seems to have, and I think I wrote this somewhere. Corwin seems to have, or Woogas in general, have seemed to have fully abandoned their strategy from Lovia's, where they were playing really well together and they were running in and attacking the net from close and drawing people out of position. And Corwin, I want to say, for the first 2.5 periods, was only taking shots from midfield.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of sitting there watching, like, if they go up and they, like, just run around and confuse the baggage defense, I feel like they could get Lauren and Luke or Corwin, whoever has the ball, if Luke is the one running around, like, completely free.
Yeah, I guess I know they're dealing with a different defense now that's more competent and can fully flesh out a defensive plan.
It almost felt as though they just kept wasting opportunity after opportunity because Corwin was just shooting. And, you know, when you shoot from that far, it's either going to go directly into the goalie's chest, into the goal, which is what you want, or it's going to go out of bounds and be a free hit.
Yeah. Or like just kind of pinball off of a bunch of players that are in front of the net too.
I mean, it could, but how many times Corwin took like 11 shots that I have listed as off target and most of those were from midfield where he missed entirely and just gave baggage a free hit.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to be the biggest critic because it definitely could work. I mean, Pavel's the one who's he's the pro. Yeah. And he was saying like, wow, great strategy here from Woogas. And I'm just I guess it does sort of create
it creates a screen if you're shooting from far out too, because there's going to be a lot of players in your line of sight if someone's shooting from more than halfway. Right. So I guess that could work in your effect. But like if someone's screening the goalie, that means that they're also kind of in the way of your shot. So I don't know. Yeah. I think you always need a balance of everything. I think you need some of those shots. You need hope if a couple fall in, then great. But you definitely need to crash the boards as well.
I want to see Jesse start to shoot from midfield. I feel like he would fucking rip him.
Yeah,
rip him. Back to the beginning, Brendan. Back to the beginning. Game 1. Baggage.
All right, let's burn it.
Hook, line, sinkers. Let's burn it. Burn. Sauerkraut. What?
yeah, I wasn't sure if you liked that one or if you're like, I'm not looking at you. I'm reading my notes when I'm doing that, and I just hear you go, "Oh, sauerkraut."
No.
Like disappointed.
No, it wasn't like that. It was because in my head I was like, "Oh, Brendan could probably make a funny joke about Krauser's name sounding like sauerkraut," and then I was like, "He just did that." But I was like, "Now he just said sour and then Kraus." That's 100% what he was going for.
Yeah. Don't forget McAllister.
Don't forget McAllister. No, highs and lows, Brendan. Highs and lows. So yeah, like we said, period 1, kind of, we didn't know what this game was going to be like, and this first period was. It showed us exactly what this tournament was going to be. Mm-hmm. You had these two teams. Baggage being the veterans and really knowing what was going on and how to play together versus Hookline, who fully, in my eyes, their first period strategy and really their strategy for most of this game felt like it was just fucking make sure their ball doesn't go in and just get in front of everything. Because they're like running, Drew's getting fucking drilled at every turn. Mm-hmm. Pat's getting hit a lot. You saw in this game, Pat. What do you know his last name?
Skeba. I got it in front of me.
Pat Skeba, or Sheba, whatever they were calling him.
Sheba.
He played full defense. He had 0 shots the whole game.
Pat it's good to have those defined roles too. I like that.
Yeah, and honestly, whenever you're playing something for the first time with a new team, it's always very safe to go full defense for your first time together.
And then sometimes you'll see
Because that
opportunities
way-
like, oh, in this moment we are able to just like find a pathway to
Exactly.
the goal. Let's just take it. But otherwise, fall back and just make something happen.
Exactly. Baggage was being very aggressive in terms of their offense in this game.
It helps when you have 3 players that have good ball handling too. It helps when all 3 of you have that same skill because
Right.
you can get to the net and feel confident that even if you miss, someone's going to be there to catch a rebound and hopefully score, or at least it's tough to catch passes because it's a small court and you're whipping it back and forth and there's a lot of sticks in front of you. So to have anyone be able to catch a pass and then shoot, really difficult in this sport, and it's really cool when it happens.
Yeah.
You love to see
And
it.
you saw the Pavel play for the first time.
Yeah.
We got the Pavel play going on in this game for the first time where you're kind of like, oh, okay. So it's a power play plus some because Pavel is just so good. And
it's
we'll
even
talk
more
about
awesome
this.
than I really originally was thinking it would be because we always get these stars to come in and co-host with Rose, and we don't get to see them use their skill. And this guy gets to use it twice for a minute of every single game. He gets to be on full display and just run around like a maniac. So it's cool to get to see him be in the booth, which it seems. I think I heard that someone said it's like his first time doing this, and it seems like he's been doing it for his entire life. He's so funny and so awesome.
Commentating?
Yeah, like doing play-by-play. He's never done it before, and then gets to simultaneously go on and put on a show. Like such a fun idea as a power play in general, but also from a pure entertainment standpoint to see someone perform their best skill on screen is just really, really cool.
Awesome. It's like that old thing where people are like, "Oh, the Olympics would be so much better if they just had one normal person."
If
going
Pavel
and doing
Barber
the
played all
events."
the sports, it would be so much more fun.
It would be so much better if Pavel Barber was in every sport. No, if they have like normal person go up against all the Olympians,
And just to see
and
how
that's
much
kind
better
of what
they
you have
actually
here
are.
because
Yeah.
it's literally we've talked about it before. It's 8 people, or I guess 6 people on the floor with one pro, and you see the pro is just moving so much faster, making these decisions so much faster, being so much more accurate. But that being said, Pavel play comes in, baggage, and we'll talk about this later during the Woogas game specifically, has an amazing penalty kill where Hookline comes off with nothing. Courtney is being a menace, just absolutely making Jake stay on his toes because she has that one shot that goes under Jake's legs but hits the post and comes out, and it's like, oh my god. And then the period ends 0-0 with a breakaway, Kraus and Jimmy, where it's just off target, and it's like, okay, this is heating up now. You know, you get into the second half. Oh wait, that's right. Sam got a penalty because
That's where
Sam.
she a high sticking penalty.
No, this was her getting too close.
Oh, okay, to the free hit.
Was that it, or all I wrote was Drew goes to shoot, but Sam is too close and gives away the first penalty of the season.
A free hit.
So Sam got too close, goes to there. She starts in the box. Sam, by the way, very naughty.
It's so funny how she'll do something very clearly wrong and she's like, "That's fucking bullshit," and throw her stick. Like,
Sam is a menace. It's crazy.
I don't know if it was this game or the next game where she like talks shit to the ref. She's like, "What do you mean?" And you just hear the ref go like, "I don't know, you hit her pretty hard." Like you clearly hit her like in the chest with the stick, and she's so mad. But I love the fire. It's so good.
I love the fire.
So good.
Is Sam a natural heel?
Sam, she's someone we've been eating in these tournaments.
Sam is so nice.
Some people just flip that switch when they go on any court.
She turns into an athlete, and she's just a fucking absolute heel. Lean into it.
Yeah,
honestly,
I love it.
But you start off the second period. Sam's in the box for 20 seconds. Baggage is still like attacking. That's not holding them back.
Yeah.
Right. Courtney then gets a high stick on Krause's shot. She's in for a penalty. Baggage has the power play. But power play ends with nothing. It's like, okay, good. Two really good kills. And then Jimmy shoots it, comes off the boards, and just perfectly right in front of Sam to just tap it in past Kane. Kane,
Taparoo,
who famously did not have a goal scored on him until the final in the last tournament.
That's an insane stat.
Absolutely
I mean, it probably
insane.
helped to have the
'Cause he
team
wor-
that he had.
he was
He
worm
in the-
burners
Yeah, worm
last
burners. So they're just a nasty team.
Right. Sam scores first goal, and Sam, by the way, did not even smile.
I was going to say that. So everybody else that scores in this tournament is just like, yeah, oh my god, or does some sort of celebration. She just like, back to work. Let's get back in the fucking
Sam
field.
is
Let's go more.
Intense, dude.
That's it. Sometimes
Intense.
people talk about it a lot in baseball, where sometimes the coolest celebration or bat flip is like the lack of a back flip and just running around the bases stone cold and just going right to the dugout, not saying anything or celebrating. Sometimes it's really cool to just be a beast and be like, yeah, I've been here before. I'm not excited. Let's do more.
Oh, I could never. You kidding me? I wear my heart on my sleeve. I could never. If I do something cool, I'll be like,
oh my god.
I think like in my bring it back to me when I was doing the soccer league up here.
Oh, and that's enough of Peter talk.
League,
Let's talk about me.
and we're done. Now on to Brendan. When I was doing the adult soccer league, I played defense mostly. I scored 3 goals one season. All 3 goals. Every time I scored, I just started laughing. I was like, "This is so
took
great."
my shirt off, and everyone started laughing at me.
But like I could never. Sam's stone cold, dude.
It depends on the setting for me. If I'm with just friends, I'll be ridiculous and stupid and make a huge meal out of it. But in when I would play for school or whatever or anything like that, I would just be quiet and nervous. And just be like, okay,
well,
it's
when you
different.
played for school, it was also different because it was like, I don't know if it was like this by you. By us, it was like if you celebrated, you're in trouble.
Right? Yeah, you're also like 13 years old with like a bunch of like
you're
old
like
men
not
coaches that you're afraid of.
You're not supposed to. Don't you fucking? How dare you celebrate?
And then in college, when I was playing, it was
the
like
fun out.
Playing sports. It was a sport where you're running as fast as you can the entire time, and then you're exhausted. So when you finish a race, you don't have any energy to celebrate. You're just like just trying to hold on for dear life.
It's like, okay, just don't sit down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you go into it, right? And Drew is like clearly starting to make things happen where he's like starting late runs to catch the defense off guard, and it tricks his own teammates where they go to pass to him, but he had already started this late run to like run forward and be free. And then Baggage reclaims the ball, immediately calls for Pavel. And Jimmy draws up a play from the Mighty Ducks, being like, it's time for us to go up 2-0. Because Pavel pile it on, make hook line, just be
I love
completely
the strategy
demoralized.
by Baggage too. I think they're going to end up using Pavel the best throughout the tournament and know exactly when to use him. I think it's so smart to now continue our momentum and potentially score another goal back to back and just shove it down their throats and make them feel like they need to also exhaust their Pavel play. And even if they score on theirs, they'll still be down. I think that's a smart, really smart way to do it instead of using it out of desperation.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. And then you have, Pavel comes in. And this is where Drew fully embraces the fuck it, I'll get hit with the ball mentality. And he just is getting in front of everything and not even letting the ball come to Kane. And they kill the play, which is huge out of them. And then, moment of the tournament so far, where Sam gets a high stick after taking a shot, getting a shot off on target. Sam high sticks against someone and throws her stick. Another penalty for Sam. But Baggage saves it again, and the period ends 1-0. Baggage is ahead.
Yeah.
And then you're coming into the third, and Brendan, as much of a hook line fan as I am, I thought it was over.
Yeah, because they still don't look like they have the same skill set that Baggage does. The only way they're able to tie it up is just because, like you're saying, Drew decides to learn how to jump in front of every single ball and be everywhere at once. He's, like I said before, the less hockey-oriented version of Pavel Barber, who can just be anywhere at any time. but will do whatever he can to get the ball in that. He to me is like the kind of player that if you're a hockey player playing like in a rec league in college, you would hate Drew Davis because like this guy doesn't fucking play hockey, but he's still so effective because he's everywhere and will just keep swinging his stick and might
just
score
get
goals.
Tired.
Yeah, just get fucking. He won't get tired. This is what
exactly.
Nicky maybe needs to emulate more of what Drew Davis is doing because I think that the two of them come from a similar background where neither of them are hockey oriented and they both are super athletic. So,
but Drew is also much bigger than Nicky.
That's true.
And like he can get in front of things easier.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Nicky's very much wider because he's got those massive quads.
Massive
huge
quads.
Glutes.
Massive glutes. Got huge quads, huge glutes.
Huge glutes.
So we go into the third, and we'll just go through it real quick. Pat gets a steal. Pat, very defensive. You haven't heard his name too much because he's been entirely a defensive player, and it's been awesome to watch. Defense is underrated. I love it in every sport. Defense is the best. He steals the ball, gets it to Courtney. Courtney misses. Drew gets the rebound, essentially, because this is the one that, like, did it come off of Jake's leg and then Drew picked it up and poked it in?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that?
Yeah.
And Drew gets the goal. They check it to see if somebody's in the box.
I think they thought that maybe Drew ended up
Courtney?
in the crease or maybe
Somebody.
Isabel, yeah.
And, it turns out, nope, good goal. Hook line gets this goal back. After this, hook line, full defense.
Mm-hmm.
Full defense. Baggage is assaulting the goal. Bah, 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 bah. Nothing can happen. We go to a shootout.
Yeah. It seems like that's what I'm getting from watching Floorball 1 and 2 is that sometimes even if you have full possession of the ball for a majority of the game, sometimes shots just don't fall. And it's just sometimes it's going to be one of those games where you're trying and eventually things will start to fall, maybe next game. But there's going to be days where your shots just go off the post or there's someone in the way or, you want to just pile on shots in hopes that 10% of them go in. I don't know percentages really well, but a lot of times you're just praying. And eventually better opportunities will come about. But this is a game where, like you said, we said before that it started, Baggage just looked so in control. And even though they lost, they were like the better team.
I'm going to look something up really quick.
Okay. But I was going to say, too, that both goals that Drew scores, one in the shootout, one in the regulation, are so close to not being goals. Like that one had to be checked that they scored in regulation, and then the one that he scores in the shootout is just a little dribbler that goes past Jake. So for that to be the way you lose is definitely a little bit heartbreaking for Baggage. It's very Baggage to lose by two tiny little goals that barely go in.
Right. So this is what I was looking up. You take shots like crazy in a hope that something goes in, right? Oh, no.
Oh, big sneeze.
NHL. And I know that NHL is not the best comparison because these are professional hockey players, not professional floorball players. Oh, my God. The top 50 goalies, their save percentage, number 50 in NHL, his save percentage is 0.892.
Wow.
Just to put that into perspective. So, like, this is what pro hockey players do, too. And granted, like, they're pros. They're going up against pros. They're really just praying. Essentially, they're sending off a shot and they're like, oh, I hope this one goes in.
Or if it takes a funny bounce that your player can be up there rebounding. It seems like that's a big strategy.
But it's a similar strategy here.
Yeah.
It's a similar strategy here where it's just like get as many shots off as you can. Like, everybody has a save percentage per my stats that is over 600.
Yeah.
Like this is a sport where you want to just do something like that. But we go into the shootout. And with that, like we all know hook line wins in the shootout. And the way that it happened was Jimmy, who personally I think is probably the best shooter,
Yeah,
shootout guy on
on
baggage.
his team.
Yeah, and he doesn't even put it on target.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that
I was wondering about that too.
sucks.
It's hard when you he opens the first shootout like to decide who gets the ball with
Yeah.
his patented shot that Pavel was
Right.
talking about. I guess he was referencing that video you were talking about. That must be what he was talking about, where he kind of had that move to the left, shoot outside, sort of move down. But once people know that's your move, then how do you keep doing it? You know, like so I saw him try to do it again, but like wanted to be a little bit cuter with it, and it just made it a little bit harder. I want to see him try something else out, because otherwise, if you keep doing the move left, shoot right for the upper 90,
Yeah.
it's going to be harder and harder to
Jimmy
get.
Jimmy gets in his head a lot. We know this from other
Yeah.
sports. So in a situation like that, where it's a shootout, you got to think: is how much of that is Jimmy missing because he like made a mistake, or how much is it Jimmy being like what you're saying, like fuck, I have one move, I need to do something different.
And it has to be, so if you have one move, it has to be perfect every time.
Exactly.
You know,
But that's the end of the game.
it's the end of the game.
Good job, hook line. Player of the game.
Player of the game. I have player of the
Brendan
game.
has it. Brendan has it.
It's Drew Davis. He scored a goal and then also won the shootout. I mean,
Drew Davis.
we talked about him all episode long. He's everywhere. He's up, he's down, he's left,
everywhere.
he's right. He's in the goal, he's playing defense. This is a great sport to showcase his talents too, because we always talk about how athletic he is when he's playing defense in blitzball. You don't get to see him move around too much there. You see him get to move around a little bit more in ball and play. And this
Yeah.
is the sport. It's not his main sport, obviously, by any stretch, but it's a sport that gets to showcase his absurd squirrel ability. Let's see
Oh,
it.
interesting.
Very
Yep.
fun.
I think it was Drew was really good. Drew kind of clearly hasn't played hockey before something like this, besides like gym class, probably.
Yeah.
Really did a very good job of playing defense legally, and recognizing opportunities where he could go in and score. And I believe, I could be wrong, I believe Drew was a lacrosse player.
Okay.
Um,
So he's used
so
to
it's
holding a stick
kind
up.
of similar.
You should just put it the other way, and you're good.
Just put it down.
Put it
Just
down.
put it down. I believe like the thought processes of like how to score and whatnot is pretty similar. So you could see that he's recognizing opportunities, space, and he's recognizing space and all this, and
Right.
he's doing a very good job with
It's
it.
just like a shrunken down version of it, but it's still same setup. Was like people running around on the field where you can run behind the net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give Drew a year. Next floorball, he'll be great.
Yeah. Have him do
Certainly.
do a handling training session with Chelsea in the off season,
Oh.
and then he's golden.
Go ahead. Go to Canada. Have fun. Have fun. Play of the game.
Play the game.
They're laughing at me because I stuttered. I'm giving it to Drew as well
Wow.
for his goal in the third period because it kept the game alive for hook line, and it was entertaining as hell. Drew, like we said, we really put an emphasis on his defensive ability and just like being able to cover everything and give Kane really not a lot to deal with as much as he should have.
Yeah.
But that goal was so perfectly executed. Great celebration. We love the celebrations on this channel,
Yeah. We love the energy he
this
brings in general.
podcast. But yeah, not much else to
Great
say.
job. Yeah. I mean, we should probably start blasting through these other ones because we are running low, baby. Okay.
We're running. Well, it's 4 games. Game 2, We Got Ice versus Mac Flurry Power. Without recapping the whole thing, or recapping every single event in the first period. How quick did they score? Did Nick score his goal? I want to say it was within the first minute.
I don't remember how fast it was.
I think it was like
and your
20
notes is
seconds
very
in.
early in the notes, and you're kind of going pretty chronologically. So I want to say it's definitely within the first minute.
So within the first minute, Nick scores. They do a full team celebration. They're stirring up the McFlurry, right?
You gotta love that.
This team, Brendan, McFlurry Power. Holy shit. It's like they've played together forever. It's like they've played together forever. Steve, Nick, and Chelsea were like, they just knew where each other was. And they're like, oh, he'll probably be here now. Fire a pass over. Nick gets it on the end of his stick. Oh, Chelsea's probably behind me. Puts it back. Chelsea's right there. Gets a shot off. Chelsea,
Dude,
like...
the amount of shots that Chelsea had that almost went in, and you just like... I saw you read it down, and when you were recapping it, you felt like she was going to score 5 goals this game just because of how many opportunities she had. And she had good looks, too, not just like ripping shots wildly. She had good looks, good shots. And I think it's one of those things where all these people have hockey in their blood. Your Canadians just they grow up with it. It's instinctual to them. So even though they haven't played together for years, they all have the same instincts, and they could play off each other really well. Who knows what they did before the tournament started, but whatever they did do made their chemistry just fly off the charts. They look fantastic together, and they're going to be. It's kind of them and Woogas are the two teams that look like they're taking the charge.
I don't even know about Woogas. Once we get to Game 4, we'll talk about it. But like, first half was entirely McFlurry Power, just absolutely crushing it the whole time. Like, Zoe got flustered. You could see it because Zoe was taking shots that were just like, if he settled it for a second longer, he would have gotten it more on target and maybe a better location might have scored. K-Mac is also huge, so taking up that goalie spot is pretty big for the boy.
Yeah.
But we saw in this game too, like Steve Dangle did like a Pat Sheva full defense role. And you got to think, and this is when I started thinking, and spoiler alert, in the next 2 games it proves not to be true, but this is where I start thinking, is like, oh, are the better teams just essentially sacrificing an option forward to make one person a full defensive player and all this? And it's not true, but during this game you started to think it, because We Got Ice were getting shut down left, right, and center, and it could just be because Nick was a maniac going forward, and then you had Chelsea who, she could, if she wanted to, I'm certain of it, she could walk at a snail's pace, just handling the ball on the stick.
Just confusing the hell out of you.
Walk through everyone.
Right.
Everybody who comes at her, I'm so certain. Chelsea's fucking nuts. Then you go into the second period, and then Reagan starts to show her stuff, and Reagan is. I said it before. Reagan might be the best player
got great handling and has
we've ever
speed
seen.
too. She can run around like crazy.
And power.
Yeah.
It's crazy how strong she is. She gets the shot off, and I'm like, was that a bullet? What's going on?
I mean, you hear her talk about how she doesn't have the full weight of the ball figured out on her stick. So once she figures that out, maybe next game we see her, it's going to be lights out.
She's going to score a hat trick this tournament for sure.
I hope.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
She's so good. But then you see the Pavel play come into effect here. And it's what we were talking about before, where Pavel scores for McFlurry Power with, very little directions, kind of like just do what you do.
Which kind of makes sense for these Canadians, too. Like, it's just more another Canadian on their team. Like, hey, let's just all be Canadians and run around and just be good at hockey, and you'll probably score. He's like, all right, let's do that.
Right. And Chelsea gets the assist. And it was kind of like just a... it was kind of just everybody passes really well on McFlurry. And if you watch a lot of like sports that don't have a lot of stoppages, like hockey, soccer, lacrosse, things like this, the teams that win are typically the teams that pass better.
And those are the kind of games that make the game look pretty too. When you see people passing back and forth, it looks clean that way. It looks professional. And that seems to be what helps teams win, for sure.
Exactly. So Pavel scores, and this is what we were talking about before with We Got Ice immediately calls him back out.
Yeah.
And they just say, just do what you did before, give us a goal.
It sounded silly, but also at the same time, that is what you want to do with Pavel after seeing 4 games of him coming out for both teams. Let him do his thing. I think there's a couple. I forget which team did it, but there was a team that was shooting a lot with their other players when Pavel was on the court. Like, let him do it. Like, I know if it comes to you, I guess rip a shot.
Wugas.
Yeah, like let him do his thing. Like, get the ball to him. Let him run around the players and take all his shots are going to be better than your shots. So let him do his thing.
I didn't think it was that bad of an idea because like when Pavel's there, that's what you're expecting, right?
Yeah.
So if you can catch somebody cheating, whether it be the goalie or a defenseman, if you can catch somebody cheating being like, yeah, why would I do this when I could be watching Pavel?
Right.
Like if you could get one there, good
that's
for you
true
guys.
too. And I guess if you could rip a hard enough shot and it bounces off something, Pavel will probably be there to get the rebound wherever it may be, and he could do his thing again. So yeah. We'll see. I'm interested to see how more people use it. If they just decide to, like, if they take the baggage route and set up a play for him, or because it's tough. 30 seconds happens quickly. You don't get. He gets maybe 2 shots max in each Pavel play.
Yeah, and We Got Ice didn't get to score during his Pavel play, but
it does set something up.
Immediately after, when they get a set play, DZ passes the ball over to Reagan, who fucking snipes one. Yeah. And at this point in my head, I'm like, I fucking told you. Reagan's so fucking... I'm full on a Reagan fan. She's so good.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm like running around going nuts in my head because obviously I'm not running around watching this game. Wow.
You're just spinning around in this chair.
Then right off of that, Chelsea scores, and then again in my head it's like I fucking told you, Chelsea's so fucking good. Like she was bound to get
Who'd you tell? You told yourself.
Myself, yeah. I was like, I knew it. I was like, I'm trying to get Matthew to watch this so badly, and I know he's just going to shit talk everyone.
Does he play hockey?
There's no doubt in my mind. He plays pond hockey.
Okay, so
he
plays very recreationally with friends.
Yeah, never had real. Like training or whatever. He's just a Rangers fan, and he's like, I bought a stick and some skates. And okay, Matt.
He's
but then like, then the shots start coming off. Pop, 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 pop.
You said that second period was nuts. Was it
second period
four goals
is the best period of anything I've ever seen. Because
crazy.
at the very end of it, Zoe steals the ball, runs downfield, and scores. And it's like, shit, we got a fucking game.
Yeah, and Zoe, we always known Zoe's been athletic and quick,
right.
But he looks really light on his feet this tournament. He looks fast.
Right. This game was nuts. This game in its entirety might be the best floorball game I've ever seen.
Yeah, just the back and forth, and a team looking so dominant, then for the other team like, oh no, we can score too, and to have the tit for tat second period was a lot of fun to see. Any period you get multiple goals is very, very exciting because 5 minutes is not a long time.
Yeah, I mean, this whole game ends, or this period ends with Zoe stealing the ball and scoring. You sit there and you think like, fuck, I thought after that first period, I fully thought We Got Ice was dead. Yeah. And I was like, and
the only reason why McFlurry is even winning right now is because of the Pavel play.
Exactly. Well, yeah. You're talking about at the end of the second?
At the end of the second, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And and Chelsea just being an absolute fucking stud.
Right.
You see, we go into the third. I feel like We Got Ice is right back in it.
Yeah.
They got it. Momentum's back for them.
After just seeing a 4-goal period, too, like, you're not expecting a third period where nothing is scored at all.
Yep. They almost had it. They had a really good opportunity right to start the third period, but McFlurry, gets the ball back, and Chelsea almost scores, and, the third period also absolutely insane. Spoiler alert, so that I don't just go through everything, because it's really hard not to just read through everything that happened. It ends with no goals. You got Zoe being a maniac, who essentially leads K-Mac out of the goal before he passes back to DZ to shoot at an empty net, but he just mishits it, and you're like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy. Both of these teams are desperate for another goal. Reagan shooting from her own half, just barely missing it. She shoots again, that K-Mac saves, and it's just every second.
Yeah.
It feels
it's hard
as
to say
though
if it's intentional, but McFlurry just was heavy on defense, and
right.
We Got Ice was heavy on offense, and they looked more desperate to get a goal because they were behind. And
Yeah.
McFlurry for 5 entire minutes was like, let's just keep this 1-goal lead, which seems like an insane strategy, but maybe
it
it's just
felt
more of
like
more we can more test it to we got ice being that aggressive that they had to be on their heels a
Right.
little bit.
But they were also going for it. Like they were going for it hard to get us another goal of separation. And you know, the game ends with Jack going forward because at this point, who fucking cares if they score another goal?
Yeah.
We're not on a point system here. There's no like real goal differential. It's like if you win 2 games, you get a bye. And that's what they're going. They're trying to set themselves up for that. Jack goes forward. K-Mac looks like he had no idea that was allowed.
Right. He's like, huh?
But then the game ends 2-3, McFlurry power, and it was incredible.
It's gonna look so funny just like once Jack gets up and starts walking around. It already looks funny to see a goalie on the field on the ice like that in the rink. But like to see a man with long hair and vampire teeth coming at you, it's got to look pretty intimidating or strange at least. What a goalie setup. Like we have Jack with the vampire teeth and then K-Mac with the giant cup.
The Jason
mask too. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it.
Oh,
good.
Oh,
Player of the game.
player of the game.
Peter has it.
Peter has it.
I have it. It's gonna be Chelsea. Could
Chelsea.
you tell I was singing her praises the whole Chelsea? Her stick handling. She made people look silly all game. There was never a moment where she looked out of control.
Mm-hmm.
She was in control the whole time. It was almost like watching an older brother play with their sibling who's like 10 years younger than her.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. Her goal was incredible. She got the assist to Pavel as well. Chelsea left me with this game. I was like, oh, listen, this could also be a bias that I didn't know about, where I'm like, this girl's got glasses. There's no way she's good.
I have glasses. And I
like,
suck at all the sports, so she must suck too.
I mean, listen, I do suck at all the sports, but like, it could be something like that, where I was just thinking like, oh, glasses equates to not good at sports, which is like, what the fuck are you
Which
even
is
talking
true.
about? I mean,
Look at Zach Allen didn't do too well last night.
Look at Zach Allen. Didn't do too well last night. But Chelsea was impressive. I know I keep saying Reagan looks like she's going to be the best player in the tournament, but the best player in this game, by far, in my opinion, was Chelsea.
Yeah. I mean, though, Chelsea's a stick mastermind. I think the only reason why we know Reagan's going to be that much better in the future is because she's been a D1 athlete also. She has the recognition. So we'll see where she goes. But I am so excited to see Chelsea do some wizardry on the field. Like to her to do that. I don't know if she meant to do between the legs and then 5-hole, but that was like just such
gross.
So many goals we've seen so far have just
so
been
gross.
like half court shots or rebounds or just messy shots that just happen to dribble in. But hers was like, oh, that was very calculated.
It was really, really good.
Yeah.
And very, very impressive. Play of the game.
Play the game. My play of the game goes to Pavel Barber's goal.
Oh, boo.
Gotta give Pavel some more love. It's the only Pavel play that's resulted in a goal so far. And it was awesome. It was awesome to see. It makes me excited to see more of it. It's going to be great.
We have 2 more games to go over, Brendan.
I love watching him rip shots harder than
You
anyone
just
can.
You spoiled that that's the only one. Take it back.
All right, take it back.
Bleep it out. Bleep it out.
This word goes to
4. Boop.
That's my favorite play, too.
But, Brendan, I hate that you did that.
I know. I usually do things in these segments that you are annoyed with.
Yeah. I mean, that is.
That's what this segment's for. Definitely expect a player of the game to go to Chris Rose at some point in this tournament.
Oh,
Just wait for it.
It's probably gonna. Game 4 where he sweat. but
He's sweating
they're,
two weird spots, like belly button and like
it was really weird.
left under
Sternum.
tit. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the Pavel goal was huge. I mean, you're seeing a lot of these teams struggle on the Pavel play where it's kind of like what's it called? Paralysis by analysis?
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah,
Like
analysis
when you have
paralysis,
so
whatever.
many good options.
And it's again a small court, and there's a lot going on. There's
Yeah.
an extra person in the small area just running around like a madman.
Yeah, and they're the only team to make use of it so
But
far.
the one thing I do want to mention about the Pavel play in general, though, is it's obviously supposed to be a power play for the offense. But in a way, it's almost 30 seconds guaranteed where you're not going to have a goal scored against you. So it's almost like 30 seconds of defense for yourself, too, if you think about it that way. You can kind of chalk up 30 seconds, we're not going to get a goal scored against us.
That's
Another way to look
crazy.
at
That's
it.
a crazy line of thought, Brendan. I'm not going to lie to
We'll
you.
see.
That's
We'll see if it's
an insane line of thought.
proven wrong, but I'm pretty confident no one's going to score against a Pavel play.
I'm not.
Okay.
I think somebody will, because somebody's going to have that exact line of thought and push too many people forward.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, let's go to the next game.
Game 3.
Dawuga, Berta Dalaba, Mr. Love Ya Love Ya. That's a good one. The Mr. Love Ya Love Ya.
Love ya.
I mean, what else can we say, man? Like,
Wooga's domination.
Wooga's dominated this game.
And we need one of these too. We
Wooga's-
need a game in this tournament where everything's looked pretty even keel. And you want one team.
Key and Peele.
It's looked very Key and Peele were in the stands. I don't know if you guys saw that.
This game looked very Key and
It was
Peele.
very Key and Peele. I liked seeing one game, not too many games, but a couple here and there where it's like a team just puts on a show. It's fun to see that. It's fun to see.
What's that song? This is the greatest show. That's what they do.
From The Greatest Showman?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Me either.
Is that what it's from?
I don't know.
I
It would make
no
sense if The Greatest
idea.
Show was in The Greatest Showman.
I mean, yeah, it would. But so like first period goes through and you can immediately tell just how good Woogas are
Yeah.
going
and
forward.
we remember Luke being great last year too. So him leading a club
yeah.
and getting more help, and this
Luke
new team
scored
is going to be
the
pretty
most
good.
goals last year, right?
Yeah,
So Luke scored the most goals last year. You're going in, they're just fucking putting constant pressure on Dalton. Even when this game didn't have a power play to start, right?
right. I
Because
think,
they went through the whole team and there was nobody scored like a winning goal
exactly.
in that first shootout. So there was no power play, and then you just see like fucking Woogas, pa, 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 all attacking the goal. Luke picks the ball off of Jesse's stick and slots one, or he shoots one that just dribbles past Dalton. He's able to like continue his run and just poke it in. First goal, done. What is it? The next fucking play? Jesse goes to push it forward, who intercepts it who's intercepted by Corwin, who shoots from his own half, and like, I don't know if Dalton wasn't ready or if he was cheating or something. He's like set up on the right half of the net, leaving the left half open. Corwin fucking fires it, scores it.
Yeah.
And it's you just sit there like it's not supposed to happen this way.
Yeah.
I know we had early goals last game, but it is not supposed to be this quick.
From back there, that's the first one we've seen that was like a longer shot. I'm like, whoa, was that supposed to go in, or was that like a miscue by Dalton? And then you see the replay, and the trajectory of it makes it look much more difficult on replay. So like usually when the goals are coming at you, or the shots are coming at you, it's coming from underneath you and coming up at you. This one was up the whole time, so I could see that different look being difficult to like. He would have had to have swat at it because it was in the upper part of the net and maybe to his right. So it would have to been a full on like arm block instead of just using your entire body to get big. And it whizzed past. It was a very fast shot. I think that's the benefit of being able to have space around you is to really wind up. But when you're closer, you have to just take a quick little shot, and they're not as powerful. But being back there, you can really, really send one in.
Right. You have essentially Woogas dominate the first period. after this. Sarah seems to be the best player for Lovia's at this point, where Sarah's getting a lot of shots on target. Lucas DeVersa is really having to work because of Sarah, pretty much.
Yeah. He's doing well. I mean, they talked, the storyline before this game was that Lucas was the worst goalie in Floorball
Right.
1. So
Exactly.
he did a fantastic job and really turned it around in this game.
Yep, for sure. I believe Lovia's call for the powerful play. Yep, Lovia's calls for the powerful play. Corwin was so impressive against Pavel, like really playing true defense against him for the first time that we've seen, where Pavel gets this pressure on him before he could really do kind of whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And you're seeing Corwin like kind of stop him off. And then right when it's over, Corwin shoots as if there was no pressure on him at all beforehand. And eventually, period ends 2-0 to Woogas going into the second. They give this huge press conference where they're like, yeah, we
so
fucking
funny.
won.
Yeah.
We win. And it's like, guys,
it kind of works because they do win. So, I mean, I thought that was so funny. They're like asking, like, how scared does Lovies look right now? Can you tell? Like, and Paxton's like, you didn't answer any of my questions. You just talked about how good you are.
Yeah, exactly. It was
really
a
funny.
ridiculous.
I think she says like something like, that was a useless interview, and then leaves. It's so funny.
Paxton cracks me up, man.
Yeah.
You go into the second, and the second period is kind of just a lot of the same things that the first was. Pavel comes in, and for Woogas, Lovius kills it. Nikki, this is where you see Nikki start to kind of get antsy, and he gets a little mad. He's clearing the ball when he could have played a pass. He's like shooting these shots directly at Lucas DeVersa's chest. He's getting out of position, making it tougher for Lovius to set up in the most effective way possible. And I'm not going to act like I'm some fucking expert on hockey, but
But you are.
It almost, I'm an expert, guys. Got my credentials. But it almost feels as if Lovius needs somebody whose job is like, calm Nikki down, please.
Yeah. You see, when he gets frustrated, he wants to just play harder, and it doesn't make him better. It just makes him maybe even a little bit worse because he's trying to do too much, because he thinks like output will, give them the results that they need, and it's just not going to happen.
And then the second period ends with a frustrated Nikki and a dominant Woogas team, right? And you go into period 3, and then there's a new rule is implemented where if you're down by 2 goals entering the third period, you start the third period with a power play. And Lovius gets this power play, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is good. Like, this is really good for them. Mm-hmm. They needed this.
Yeah.
Like, they needed a break like this, and then it ends in nothing. And
then you feel like the stake has really been driven through them at that point.
Right. The Woogas really aren't playing as aggressively, and that could be part of it. But then, like, someone gets the ball to Corwin. I can't remember who. He sets it up as if he's going to pass. Oh, no. This was a free kick. Or not a free kick. A free hit set play, right? Where Corwin goes, like, fakes a pass to Luke. Everyone bites, and he shoots, scores. And it's 3-0. And you're thinking...
Having two really good goal scorers at the top of your team, so dangerous and so valuable. So even we saw in like the next game, maybe they're not the most defense savvy team, but they can score a goal anytime they want.
Yeah,
with those two guys at the top.
But then there's this whole thing with like what happens next, right? They kind of shut off. We talked about this before. They shut off for a second, and Corwin goes to bring the ball forward, and Lucas DeVersa like relaxes himself. Jesse runs forward, and essentially pokes it up and right into the goal. Love yous are back in it, kind of.
Yeah, it was a funny goal.
Right.
It looked like he wasn't really trying to shoot. He was more trying to just like
Right.
poke check it out, and was near the goal, and it worked out. Like, all right, I'll take that.
Right. And then this kind of like reinvigorates Woogas, and like Luke is like getting shot after shot off, and Dalton's making these saves.
Like, all right,
and,
let's shut them down now.
going back the other way. Sarah's getting these shots off, and Jesse's starting to play offense and really like looks like a different Lovia's team because Jesse's leading the point, and he, is a hockey guy. He's a big guy. He can handle the ball really well. At the end of the day, Woogas dominated and won the game 3-1.
That's it.
What more could you say?
Not much more.
What more can you say?
What the more?
I mean,
can you
we
say?
talked about Lauren. This is where Lauren first really. Lauren, I believe, admittedly, was not a field hockey girl or a hockey girl coming into this. And she's having these little timing lags where she's standing in front. Luke or Corwin passes the ball fucking so fast at her, and she is a second late. And you're going to start seeing this in the next game as well. But once she figures this out, and once she gets this timing right, the way that Luke and Corwin are dragging these defenders and the goalies to making them focus on them, and then able to perfectly pass it to Lauren, she's going to score 100 goals.
Yeah, it definitely takes a little bit to now to understand how quickly a plastic ball moves along a plastic floor instead of like a rubber ball or whatever it is on grass. It's very, very, very different. Like there's almost no friction on this floor, so there's a lot of adjusting. It's a small place too, so now having a third person that's capable goes such a long way. It's kind of like what we always say in blitzball battles. If your team has two capable pitchers, you're gonna go far. So if you now have three people on the floor that can all score goals and handle the ball well, you're going to be a pretty damn good team.
Right. Look at McFlurry with Chelsea and Nick.
Yeah.
Player of the game.
Player of the game. This one goes to my man, Corwin McCallumster.
Corwin.
I mean, he scored 2 goals. He's good. He steals the ball. He shoots the ball. He gets the ball in.
You said he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, he really whacks it, and it goes right in that net.
The net where the mesh is.
Where the mesh is. He didn't play last tournament, right? He's a new character. Newbie. He's definitely one of the better newbies. He's a great right-hand man to Luke, and he's one of those guys I like watching him play. And
I remembered what it was.
Tricks.
I remembered what it was from the burn that I was going to say.
Okay.
When I was a camp counselor, I had like kindergartners, right? And I would bring one of these kids, name was Luke. I brought him to the nurse, who was, traditional day camp. It's an older lady, probably a grandma, right? And she kept calling him Cool Hand Luke. And then she'd be like, haha, I bet you don't even know who that is. It's like, fucking obviously. He's 5-year-old. Why would he know who Cool Hand Luke is? That's what that made me think of.
I don't know what it is either. I just it's a reference to John
it's
Sterling.
Western, isn't it?
Okay. That's what
Cool Hand
John Sterling would always say when Luke Voigt would hit a home run, so I just ripped him off.
Yeah, I think it's it's a movie
that makes
from
well,
1967.
if John Sterling's saying it, it's obviously the oldest reference ever.
Yeah. This was a play from the 1700s.
When I was in my 50s.
When I was in my 50s, my mom used to take me to the theater. When we saw the play, Cool Hand Luke. And that's Luke Voigt's home run.
That's a good impression. Yeah,
thanks.
Corwin scores the most goals in the game. He wins it.
He scores the most goals in the game. He also was very, very good organizationally.
Handsome team.
Handsome team.
The Woogas.
Lucas, Corwin, Lucas, Luke. And
all 6 of them.
Lauren. That's it. I mix up the girls constantly. I keep saying, like, the girls, I keep saying on the wrong team. DZ, I keep giving the wrong team. I need a little more time with this tournament.
Most of the girls are new players for us, too. We'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I could tell you based on what like they look like, what team they're on, but the names I fucking switch around
Names are tough.
constantly.
There's a lot of new names.
There's a lot of new names. I did the same thing with
The ball and play athletes.
not Gavin. What was K-Mac's teammate's name?
In this tournament?
No, Blitzball 3.
I don't remember either. Oh, I just had it.
Yeah.
No.
So him and I
He's the
forget who
pitching
it
coach,
was.
right?
Somebody else from the tournament. I would always mix up who was on what team for
Yeah.
Blitzball 3. But yeah,
Play the
Corwin is nuts. Play of the game.
Play the game.
Hee hee hee.
Hoo-hoo-hoo.
I'm gonna give it to Jesse and his goal.
All right.
To keep
That was
Lovius in
good
it
play.
because it was a very heads up play. You may have caught Lucas Diversa sleeping. You may have caught Corwin sleeping, but it was a play that maybe it didn't bring you all the way back to Lovius could do it, but it brought you to like we saw earlier in this game, 2 plays in a row that were goals, and it's like, if they get another one pretty quickly, like Lovius could send this to a shootout.
Yeah.
They didn't, but that thought wouldn't have been in anybody's head without this goal.
Yeah,
And
especially a
that's
quick one
why
like
it's
that where
tied.
you're down bad, and
Yep.
when the other team is not bringing up the ball for you to get like, you know what? Instead of you guys being on offense, how about I just score instead?
How about you are I'll be on defense. What?
What are you talking about?
Because after you score, the other team gets the ball, and then you go back on defense.
He's there explaining this to everybody why he's saying it.
Like it's really good smack talk, guys.
Everyone's running past him and scoring.
Like, what are you talking about? Boom, we're gonna score again. But yeah, good game. Woogas looked good until
Until they won the next game.
yeah. I mean, they still looked pretty good, but they didn't look
Yeah.
as good.
Yeah, they're playing a better
Into
team.
game 4 we go. Baggage versus Woogas. What did you feel coming into this game? Thinking about what the game was going to be like. What were you expecting?
I felt bad that Baggage's second game was against Woogas because they looked so good in their first one and still lost it. I'm like, now they have to play even better than they did in the first game to beat a better team. I don't know
Yeah.
if they're going to be able to do that. And they did. I think they made it closer than I thought it would have been. And I'm glad that they put up a fight against a team that looked so cocky and confident. And Wooga's like, now I realize this is not going to be a cakewalk to get to the championship. So I think this was like, if anything, a wake-up call for Woogas that there's a lot of other good teams here. So
Yeah.
that's my take.
I thought Woogas were going to win easily.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to win very easily.
But I think after seeing the whole thing, it kind of confirms to me that Baggage is a really well-rounded team and can compete with anybody. The fact that they were able to compete with Wormburners last year, to me, makes me feel like they could easily make another run to the championship and win.
I mean, Jimmy said it, I want to say, in a post-game where Baggage's problem is that they play to their opponent too much. They don't blow anybody out. They always play to the level of their opponent. Like you saw it in the first game with Hookline. They seemed to be the better team, but they still lost.
Yeah.
In this one with Woogas, they played just as good as Woogas did, but ended up losing. I mean, when we get to the third period,
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
In the first period, you have, oh my God, I forgot about this. Corbin does a back pass, a no-look pass that gets to Luke, who essentially catches Jake doing what we were talking about earlier, where he was like trying to move around and fuck around too much. Jake's on the other side of the goal. Luke gets it, taps it in, goal. Corbin has this amazing, beautiful thing. Not much longer after, Jake rolls one out and gets our first goalie assist of the tournament
Yeah.
to Krause, who's at midfield, and shoots it past Lucas. And you're like, wow, okay. These two teams are kind of nuts.
Yeah. And you
Jimmy
forget that
and
Krause is so good because he's not flashy like some of the other hockey players. He's just very steady. Has a great shot, too.
Their And in this game too, I forgot about this. Sorry. Woogas wins the power play, and then you're starting to see Baggage is really good at killing power plays. They force. It was hook line in the first game. They forcing these Pavel plays, or hook line twice in the first game because they had 2 power plays as well when Sam was in the box. And did
wow.
who won the power play to start? Was it hook line? No, Baggage got the power play in the first one. So like they had the 2, they kill it there. They force the opposing team to waste so much fucking time.
Any Pavel play too. I think they've shut those down as well.
Well, that's what it was. In this one was the time when I really noticed it, because they do the Pavel play into in the second period, I believe. Woogas does. And they really force them to waste it essentially. But first period ends 1-1 after 2 great goals, great penalty killing, great defense.
If finishing in the first period 1-1 makes me fairly sure that this is going to be a tight game. If Woogas was already up after the end of this period, I would have been like, all right, it's a lock for Woogas, even if it was just 1-0. Right. Because you don't want to have to stack all your goals towards the end of even the third period. Like the fact that they were down, not to jump ahead too much, but the fact that they were down by 2 goals in the third period, I'm like, that's a huge mountain to climb for anybody.
Yeah.
So being tied and it being now a fresh game to start the second period, I'm like, all right, we still got, this is already a much more difficult game for Woogas than it was against Lucas.
Yeah, but then the second period starts and Corbin does another behind the back pass to Luke to score his second for the game. Yeah. Really quick. Right? Baggage calls for their Pavel play. Essentially, Jimmy saying to Pavel, like, hey, just do your thing, dude. We're just going to try and get it to you.
Once everyone saw that work, people are like, you know what, just you're the man. You'll be point guard, and we'll play around you.
Pavel is just sprinting all over the place. He ends up doing nothing, comes back later, ends up doing nothing. But I have it written here. Wow, Pavel should be the focus of these power plays. But Luke works one to Corwin, who just puts it high and out of bounds, doing what we were talking about before, where
you have the other guys can shoot too, even though Pavel's here.
Yeah. Defense is focusing on Pavel. Like they missed it, but it would have been such a good goal for them to score, because it would have been like, fuck, we forgot that it's not just this one guy.
Right.
We're seeing this more and more. Lauren is getting these open nets, and she's like just missing. She got one that she put a little high. She's going to end up doing something big, like we said before, but we go into the third now, and this game is really, really good. Really, really good, by the way.
It's my favorite game so far.
Absolutely chaotic. Absolutely chaotic.
And to me, it's got such a juicy storyline with like brother versus brother. They really play up the family being there. That everyone's on the sidelines. There's like 10 people for just the O'Briens there watching.
Exactly.
James is crying because his dad's not on the sideline with him. He thought that he was going to go see his dad with him on the sidelines, and now he's like, oh, he's out there playing. I'm mad. It was just so funny to see every time they cut to the family. Just baby James, just so angry, sad. So being down 3-1. So like I said before, super tough.
3-1. Yeah, sorry. Where did I missed the goal? I think. What was Luke's third goal?
I think it was pretty early in the third period. So I think there was 3 goals scored in the third period.
Was there?
Yeah, I don't think you have it in all caps. It was like a.
I need to start doing that now.
Yeah,
I need to start just putting
the way you read it down. It also wasn't like you weren't like, oh my god, holy shit, Luke scored. It was just like, oh, and there's another Luke goal. But that completed the hat trick. So and nobody threw their hats out there. I think Rose pointed out. He's like, where? Asleep? Where? I thought I missed something too. And like, no, they just nobody realized. I guess
nobody realized.
It's such a space where
look too alike.
That is true. But it's a space where everyone's very excited usually to throw shit on the field. So I was surprised that someone didn't throw anything out there. But
Yeah,
it might be what you're saying about them looking similar.
they look so much alike.
And
It's
there's a lot going on.
crazy.
Yeah, that's fair. I could see that.
But yeah, Jimmy loses the ball trying to find Sam. Corwin gets it, passes it up to Luke. Luke gets his hat trick. Corwin gets his assist hat trick.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now the
at
pressure's
that
really
was
on.
relatively early. Pressure's really on. They
and
need
the
2
team
goals
doesn't-
in 1 period.
Am I like a team led by Jimmy with pressure? I don't like their chances. I think he's a guy that does crack under pressure.
Rude boy.
It's true. I mean, it's the baggage way. And
That's so mean of you, dude.
I'm a baggage fan. I could say it.
All right. Yep. You're right. You're right.
But I was
Sorry, that's
amazed.
me.
I mean,
That's me.
what a way to come back though. So they start with Sam gets the second goal.
Yeah, Sam gets the second goal. I'm so rude in my notes where I wrote, "Oh man, Sam showing Lauren how it's done," as she gets a great centering pass from Kraus that she absolutely buries. But it's true. It's true.
Right.
And then you have 2 minutes
She had
left.
a lot of those in the first 2 games that she played where she was just
Right.
missing a lot of these passes and either setting them too high or just too wide. And I think hopefully this goal sets her up for the rest of the tournament to have her timing now down perfectly for these passes because they've been giving her a lot of chances that she's been getting mad at herself for missing, and she knows that she should have them. And maybe
Right.
this is her getting into a little bit of a rhythm here.
The rhythm is gonna get you. That's Sam's theme song.
So now they're only down by 1. Time's
Now
ticking.
they're only down by 1. Time is ticking. 2 minutes left. But Baggage is not dead because it was a really beautiful assist from Kraus and a finish from Sam. And, like, Baggage is good.
Mm-hmm.
Baggage has never not been good.
And you know for a fact when they have this much time left and they're still in the game, Jimmy in particular is going to try harder than anyone to make sure this goes into at least OT.
And Jimmy does just that. Luke goes to pass it forward. I don't know to who, but Luke goes to pass it forward. Jimmy controls it and then scores with the backhand to tie the game and then has the best celebration ever. Jimmy, he starts screaming. He's running. And it's like, yes, this is what we wanted out of this. Then Jimmy's all juiced up, sprinting around the field, just like we're gonna win this.
This
fucking
is championship against Wormburner's level Jimmy right now. After he gets that humped up.
Kraus takes a shot from midfield. I think that hits Sam, whose stick was a little too high, so she gets a penalty. She's out for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm thinking to myself, if they can hold this off, if they can hold off losing right now, Sam is probably going to be fresh for the shootout, and they might win because Sam will be all good to go right at the end of the game. Baggage, again, though, amazing job killing the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing job killing the penalty.
Yeah.
They waste so much time.
That would have been a horrible way to lose.
Possible.
To come back all the way 3-3, lose a player, and then lose in a power play in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That would be a nightmare.
Yep. And then 1 second left, Corwin fucking shoots from behind his own net and gets one on target that Jake has to save.
Oh my God, that would have been
What are you
a
doing?
wild way to finish the game.
Insane guy. But it goes to a shootout. 3-3. Incredible game.
So
this one in the McFlurry
as
game,
baggage, you're
incredible.
so glad you even got here, but at the same time, shootouts to me are such a crapshoot, and it could go either way so quickly. I don't think anyone really loves having to go to a shootout because it's like this is how we settle a game that's completely different from what's happening right now. It's the best way to settle these regular season games. But when you're playing there, you really want to settle it overtime style. So this to be the way you have to finish is just a little scary for both sides.
Right. It is. But, I mean, it's not.
So I'm going to say that's the
worst.
fun thing about it is that there's really no advantage to either side once you get to this point. Like I say with overtime, if you're just the one that just tied it up, you kind of have the momentum playing. But once you go to shootout, there's no advantage to either side unless you have like a specialist. If you have like a Chelsea that could see like being really good at just having these weird wizard shots during a shootout.
Yeah. And I mean, without going shot by shot, Sam scores. No smile again. She's always pissed off. Jimmy is still showing that like he has this bug on his back for shootouts where these pressure situations come and he just can't get out of his own head. And Corwin is just being an absolute fucking nut always. And you see it when he comes and he scores that final goal in the shootout, just making Jake look ridiculous. And we talked about this before. It was a big question mark for me as to whether it should have counted. I mean, I'm sure they were looking at it pretty closely considering it was the game-winning goal. But crazy win, crazy ending, amazing game. Amazing game. I got to get people to like, I'm telling everybody. I've told so many people about like, hey, you should really watch Floorball. It's really good. Because this game was a perfect testament.
Yeah, I mean, it had everything. Had everything you could really want. It's got the game. It's got the comeback. It's got the back and forth. It's got a great shootout. It's got the sibling rivalry. It's got whatever you could ever ask for.
Yeah, and it also has the player of the game.
Player of the game.
Luke had a hat trick.
Wait, what's his first name?
O'Brien. First
Middle
name's
name?
O'Brien, last name
Cool Hand?
Luke. O'Brien, Luke did not get player of the game. Corbin got player of the game, despite having a hat trick, because Luke talks about this in his post game as well. He kind of didn't do anything. Corwin kind of like deserved all the credit. Corwin just passed 2 beautiful behind the back passes. He got a third assist as well, and he got the game-winning goal in the shootout. Corwin won this game. He was an absolute monster, sprinting all over the field, amazing defense. Like, this guy was everywhere, and he really deserved it. Like, goals get a lot of notoriety, but he was a true playmaker, and he was the difference maker today against Baggage.
Wow. Well said. Beautiful. Completely agree.
Thank you. You're not going to add anything?
No, I would have definitely. It's fine. I would have given it to Luke because he scored a hat trick.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like,
fair.
I would have too if Corwin didn't have 2 behind the back passes.
Yeah.
I mean, like he wasn't looking, and he was just like, Luke's going to be here, and then like there he was.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. He did the harder part. All Luke had to do was just like catch the pass and throw it in.
Yeah, just not miss.
He made it much easier for Luke to do what he did.
Yeah. Play of the game.
Play of the game. My play of the game goes to Jimmy's goal. It's the game-tying goal. It was the most exciting. I mean, I think everyone, including Jimmy, was the most excited we've seen them all tournament long for this particular goal. To watch him score it and that backhanded finish, and then him to run all the way down that sideline, giving high fives, like, looking so pumped. You love seeing him that excited. He's the boss man. He's the one that puts on these tournaments. He's
the boss baby.
He's a big boss baby. The baby's over there on the sideline.
Baby's over there
when he's giving high fives,
he's not the boss baby.
He's mad. He's not the boss baby. It was just really cool to have this. The last game that we watched be this good of a game. I love watching Baggage's games. You love when they succeed, and I was excited to see them in this tournament in general because of where they ended up last year. So even though they've lost 2 games, I feel like they are still building on what they did last year. They just need to learn how to finish. And if they can catch up from a deficit like this against a great team, then I think they have a high ceiling ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was the perfect play for the play of the game. It kept the game alive. It felt like it was the most meaningful goal of the tournament so far. Have we not seen a comeback? We haven't seen a comeback yet in this tournament.
This was the closest thing.
Oh no, we have hook line.
Oh, they were down one, a small one.
But not in regulation. We haven't seen a comeback in regulation. We've only seen a comeback in a whatever it's called, shootout.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jimmy. Good job, my boy.
I want to say if they do get a chance for overtime after Jimmy's goal, they win the game.
I agree. 100%. But that brings us to the end of our coverage. Brendan, What should people be drinking?
Drink that subtle tea, baby. You can find it on subtletea.com. Get doorstep delivery for a 12-pack. With code HOPPYBOYS, you get $2 off that order. You can also listen to the Hoppy Boys podcast, where we talk about beer sometimes. You can listen to the Lonely Boys. We talk about Gossip Girl sometimes. And the Sandy Boys. We talk about the OC all the time. And look at those. Oh, you know what? We also have, while it's still October,
YouTube.
we have, let's do YouTube. We have YouTube for this show. What do they look up for that, Peter? Just type in the Blitzball Boys on YouTube and you can find that.
Let's see.
In the meantime, if you are a fan of Over the Garden Wall,
Yes.
Last year we did a podcast during October month because it's like a spooky Cartoon Network show. Listen to Over the Garden Pod. It's funny how it like this season it got a little like something we recorded a year ago got a little bump and people are listening to it again during October. So if you need a spooky watch and spooky listen, go watch Over the Garden Wall. I think it might be like on HBO Max or something. It's a great show, great cartoon.
Great cartoon. Yeah. Go look up Blitzball Boys. Blitz.
I'll try to
It'll be
remember to
under
finally
Boys.
put the YouTube link in the description of the episode.
It'll be Boys Media. For the channel. Got 10 subscribers.
Yeah. Oh,
Go listen. Go watch it.
You can go check out how handsome I finally am next to Peter.
Brendan's handsome now. Used to be ugly. As we all were. But yeah, I'm gonna plug my brother Matthew. He's a good guy.
Good guy.
I love him.
Just a
If
little
you see him, be
misguided.
nice to him.
Mhm.
Little misguided. Oh, Little Miss Sunshine.
That we'll be covering Little Miss Sunshine next episode
It will be in the month of October. We'll be covering Little Miss Sunshine
with Matt Delray.
with Matt Del Rey. Oh, we're good. And keep listening to this. We're gonna have some guests on.
Oh, shit.
We may have a third presenter at one point.
Oh my! It's gonna be
Oh
good. We have a
my.
lot of new people to talk to. So
Yep.
excited to now cover these episodes one by one. Also, it's gonna be great.
Oh my God, me too.
So we really
Yeah.
really focus and get down.
Sorry,
to the
this one was rushed.
Yeah. So enjoy. We're back. So you're welcome. How about that,
We're back. A dinosaur story. Ask me my question, Brendan.
Peter? You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
Thank God.
Bye.
Bye bye.